attorney Shawn Mughal with Mughal Law Firm, and today we're talking about citizenship, U.S. citizenship. How can you apply for U.S. citizenship? What are the requirements? How long does it take? And what are the benefits of U.S. citizenship? To apply for citizenship, you must be a green card holder. An illegal person cannot just come and straightforward apply for citizenship. So you must be a green card holder. Depending on how you got your green card, if it was through marriage, then you can apply for citizenship after 3 years. If you got your green card through parents or some other way, not through marriage to a U.S. citizen, then you've got to wait 5 years and then you can apply for citizenship. So the basic requirement for citizenship is that you must have a green card. You must have waited that certain amount of period, 3 or 5 years. And that for those 3 or 5 years, you had not traveled outside of the U.S. and stayed outside for more than 6 months. So, small travel is fine. So you must not have stayed outside of the U.S. for 6 months because that breaks something called the physical presence requirements where it resets your time. Essentially, what you're trying to prove is that 51% of the time at minimum in either the 3-year citizenship stage or the 5-year, depending on which category you are, that you were in the U.S. So you look through your travels and then you count the days. These are the minimum sort of requirements, right? Then, of course, we've got to also prove that you are a person of good moral character. You're not a person of good moral character if you've committed crimes. There are certain crimes that will make you completely ineligible, never able to file for citizenship. Certain felonies, majority of the felonies will make you ineligible. Certain felonies will permanently bar you. Additionally, there's something that most people don't think about is while as a green card holder, either intentionally or mistakenly you register to vote or voted, that permanently bars you from becoming a U.S. citizen. If you make that mistake, then you are permanently barred. A couple of years ago, the DMV, when you go get your license, the form had a very small blurb where, hey, do you want to register to vote? People didn't understand what it was. They would select yes, and bam, even though they're not U.S. citizens, by mistake, they've registered to vote and nobody's checked it at the DMV. So be aware of that. Citizenship, once you file for it, it could take months to a year or two, but on average, it's about a year where you can wait to get to the interview. At the interview, the immigration officer is looking at your entire past history. How did you come to the U.S.? What did you say? Has the information changed? Did you tell a different story when you got your visa, when you got your green card, and now when you got your citizenship? So make sure that when you're doing your paperwork that you've reviewed everything and then you're answering the correct questions correctly and accurately. Besides the history, then of your immigration history, you're also supposed to be able to prove that you can speak English, you can read, write English, and that you know the government and history civic test. It's not that complicated history or the English or the writing that is expected, as long as you're able to communicate. So if you're able to write a sentence, you're able to understand the officer, you're able to read something, a sentence or two, as long as you're able to make a conversation, you should be fine. Now, coming to the government and the civic and the history test, there's 100 questions. You can study for them. Some are state specific, how many senators you've got, who's your state senator, who's the governor, these sort of things. But generally, most of the time, the officer usually will ask 6 to 7 or 8 questions. As long as you get those right, you are granted citizenship, or you are recommended for citizenship, for approval. What happens after an officer makes a decision? A supervisor reviews it. Nowadays, it's an AI computer that most of the time reviews many recommendations from an officer for citizenship. If you're approved, then in a couple of weeks, you get an oath ceremony notice and you become a U.S. citizen. What is the benefit of being a U.S. citizen? Well, you can vote. Now you can participate in the democracy. You can vote. Additionally, many type of benefits may become available to you, certain type of government benefits, and etc. Two, if you're protected from being deported, for almost all type of crimes except for certain major ones where terrorist activity, rape or murder, it's possible that the U.S. government can take away your citizenship and deport you. But as long as you are a good, productive member of society, you've been filing your taxes, you've been paying your dues. But yeah, that's what citizenship is. I hope this information helps. Thank you.